What's good, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. And yes, it is Vlogmas 2024. Today is day 1. It is a Sunday, so you guys already know what it's going to be about, right? Because you can tell from the title of today's video. So what I was thinking was that as we approach Christmas, because I mean that's what Vlogmas is for, right? As we approach Christmas, it is good to remember the purpose behind it, right? So for me personally, Christmas represents a day that we remember God's love for us. Like, he sent his only son because he loved us so much, and he wanted to have a relationship with us. It was the only way to fix our relationship with God, so Jesus came down here to this earth for you and I. So I feel that it is very important to remember that Jesus did not come here by mistake. He came here for a purpose. His birth had a purpose. The location of his birth, being born in a manger instead of in a hospital or somewhere more appropriate for a king, his birth, the way it happened and everything about it, all had a purpose to serve. And because we serve an intentional God, this is one of my favorite words when it comes to describing God, because he is always intentional. So because we serve an intentional God, he also made us with a purpose. He made all of us with a purpose. We all have a purpose, which is why today we are going to be speaking about our purpose. Let's get into it. Okay, so before we even get into the whys and the hows, I think it is important that we all first understand what it means to have a purpose. Like, what is the definition of purpose, right? And by definition, purpose is the reason to which we do something, or the reason for which something was created, or why it exists in the first place. Like, that is purpose, like the foundational core reason as to why it is done, it exists, or why it was created. And since we are humans, I'm going to be speaking with reference to human beings, because we are humans. And as we all know, okay, if you're a child of God, you might know, you might not know, but anyway, I'm assuming you know this part about how God created the world, right? And with everything, if you look at the way God created everything, he would say, let there be light. Okay, so going back to us as human beings, right? In the book of Genesis, God speaks about, well, the Bible tells us about the way God created the universe. Like, everything else was created using words. Like, he spoke things into existence, like, let there be light, let the water separate, let the sun exist. I don't know, I can't quote everything verbatim, but he spoke, and then so it was. Like, when he said it, it appeared. When he said it, it was created and whatnot. But when you get to when he was creating us, he was very intentional. See, so with us, he molded us. He used dust, he used his hands. I mean, if you're going to be molding something, you're going to need to use your hands, right? So he went in, and he wasn't just saying, oh, let humans exist. No, we were molded, we were made, and then he breathed life into us. Like, we were the most intentional things he created. So we all have a purpose. And as an anchor scripture, because I mean today's a Sunday, I'm gonna use the Bible and everything. So as an anchor scripture, I thought we should read Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, which clearly highlights how intentional God is with each and every person who exists on earth. Whether you believe in him, whether you don't believe in him, whether you have a problem with him, whether you think he doesn't exist, this still stays true. So I'll be reading in the Passionate translation, because I think I like the way they say it. They use nice big words. So it says, Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, Before I shaped you in the womb, I knew you intimately. I had divine plans for you before I gave you life, and I set you apart and chose you to be mine. You are my prophetic gift to the nations. Okay, so the key thing about this is that before you were born, so while you were still being formed in your mother's womb, God had a plan for you already. Like, whether the parents think you are a mistake or with like whatever the circumstances is that you came to be, to God you are not a mistake. You were very intentional, and He had a purpose for you, which is why I say we all have a purpose. We all have a reason to why we exist. I mean, look at how many people try to conceive and they still struggle. And then there are some people who just do it once and there you are pregnant. It is someone has to be in control of that. It can't just be by mistake. Every single one of us was intentional. You exist because God wanted you to exist. Whether you like it or not, whether you like Him or not, you exist because He wanted you to exist, and you have a purpose to serve. So there is a reason why you exist. You are not just existing for the sake of existence. No, we are not like animals. We have a purpose to serve. Okay, now to go into the why it is important for each and every one of us to have a purpose, right? Because with me, if you want me to have something, I need to know why I need it. Like, what are the benefits of having a purpose? And if you guys see me looking down, I'm looking down at my notes because this vlogmas is gonna be something, but this year we're gonna do this. But anyway, back to the point. The reason why purpose is a good thing to have in your life, it is because one, it will help guide your life decisions. I did research on this. It will help guide your life decisions. It will influence your behavior. It will shape your goals and offer you some sense of direction. And more importantly, it will give you some sort of meaning to why you exist. Like, you'll have a reason to like, oh, okay, I'm here because of A, B, C, and D. So regardless of blah, blah, blah happening around me, I know why I'm here. I know where I am going. So the lack of purpose, on the other hand, you don't have an end goal because you don't know why you are here. So now it becomes difficult for you to make decisions. You can't you make poor judgment calls because you don't know what you want. So you want this one day, you want that the other day, because you don't have a goal in mind, you don't have a purpose. You be going wherever the wind blows, and that is not a nice situation to be in. Also, the people were depressed. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people are depressed, is because they feel like they have no sense of purpose. The reason why people commit suicide is because they don't see the reason to why they should be existing. You see where that goes? So it can, not having purpose can lead to you committing suicide because you don't understand why you exist. You don't understand what is the reason, why are things happening the way that they are, and all of these things are it's just depressing not having purpose, which is why it is very important for each and every one of us to know what our purpose is. So also let's also realize that there's a difference between purpose and goals. So goals are things you want to achieve, right? But when there's a purpose, you have different goals that help you get towards that purpose, and you could be serving that purpose while trying to achieve other goals. I don't know if I'm making sense. If I am not, let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna re-explain this when I have gathered my thoughts properly about it. But yeah, there is a big difference between purpose and goals. Goals are just things you want to achieve. Purpose, on the other hand, is something that gives you fulfillment or a sense of belonging, like why I exist, a sense of worthiness, I want to say. Anyway, okay, so another key factor that goes hand in hand with purpose is planning. So with having a purpose, you need to have a plan on how to make it happen. So I wanted to use an example of being tasked to build a house, for instance, right? If you're tasked to build a house, and on the one hand you have a plan, on the other hand you don't have a plan, right? the one without the plan is going to struggle more than the one with a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you need to first start with, okay, what do we start with? Let's say you're working on your own. You need to make your own cement, find your bricks, your wires, put electrical components into the house, know the dividers, the window shapes, sizes, and all of these things to just build a house. Even if it's just not building a house, like decorating a house, like you need to have a plan on where to start. Otherwise you just have this blank canvas and you don't know where to start. Whereas if you have a plan in place, right, when there is a plan in place for how your purpose is supposed to fall into place, then it becomes easier for you to be like, oh, okay, so they want the kitchen on that side, oh, they want this on that side, oh, we need to start with the foundation first, let us go and consult the people. When you have that information, it becomes easier for you to put it into practice and achieve your goal much faster and serve your purpose and feel like, oh, okay, I am achieving something, instead of being frustrated because you have no plan whatsoever, right? And the reason why I'm speaking about planning is because remember that in Jeremiah 1:5 we just read about how God made us while we were still in our mother's womb. Like, we were intentional and he had a purpose for us. If you read Jeremiah 29:11, which almost everybody knows now, is about how God has a plan for you. I'm going to read it again, but I'm going to use the Passionate translation just to give y'all a different perspective to this. It's the same notion, I just like this version. But anyway, it says, so Jeremiah 29:11 says, here's what Yahweh says to you. I know all about the marvelous destiny I have in store for you, a future planned out in detail. My intentions are not to harm you, but to surround you with peace and prosperity, and to give you a beautiful future glistening with hope. Get that? Like, so sounds like poetry. But anyway, you guys can also check it out, the Passionate Translation, I think that's what it's called, TPT. But yeah, so God knew us, like we were created with intention, right? That's the first thing. So there was a reason to our existence. We had a purpose, and with this purpose, God had a plan as well as to how we are going to be fulfilling this purpose. So there's a plan in place already, so we don't need to be worrying about, okay, so if I have a purpose now, how do I get there? No, there's a plan in place. Everything is gonna fall into place, which is gonna bring me to the last part of this video on how do we go about finding out what our purpose is, and because the rest is God will do it because he has the plans. We just need to find what our purpose is, and then everything else will fall into place the way it's supposed to. Cool? So I've got 5 points as to how you could find out what your purpose is, because we all have a purpose. I hope this video is not like all over the show, because I'd be rambling, right, sometimes. But anyway, so I've written down 5 points as to how one can find out, or 5 steps. So I don't know if you can call them steps because they don't. Okay, let me just get into it, right? So step 1, this will always be step 1 for me. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Pray and fast about it. When you want to know what your purpose is, go to God and tell him, I want to know what my purpose is. I want to know why I exist. What is it that I should be focusing my energy on? What is it that I should be focusing my attention on, right? And he tells us we can run to him at any time of any day. I mean, that is why Jesus came here. I mean, this is why Jesus was born, so that we could have that kind of relationship with God. We can talk to him openly about anything and everything that we want. Jeremiah 33:3 tells us that we should call unto him. We should call unto God. That is our phone number, 333. Jeremiah 33:3, we should call unto God, and he is going to reveal to us things that we do not know. He's going to reveal to us secrets that we do not know about. So if you do not know what your purpose is, ask him. He will reveal it to you. Ask him. And nobody ever runs to the Father and comes back empty-handed. The Bible tells us this, and I am a witness, because God has come through for me in more ways than I can count, and I've seen him come through for other people in more ways than I can remember. But point is, go to him. That is step 1. Go to him and tell him what it is that you need. Tell him what it is that you want, and then watch him do his magic. Cool. Step 2, learn about yourself. I mean, you need to know, because purpose will always go hand in hand with your personality. That's just from my perspective. Like, who you are as a human being has to be in alignment with the purpose that God has prepared for you, or the plans that He has in store for you. It has to suit you. You can't be I don't know, okay, I'm horrible at coming up with examples of the bit, but you can't be someone who, okay, but then again, anything is possible with God. Hey, I don't know if this applies, but I was gonna say that you can't be a cold person and then your purpose has something to do with you serving people. That balance might not work so good, but I think you guys get the picture. Your personality has to align with what God has in store for you. It has to be something that comes naturally about you. That is another thing, another clue as to where your purpose lies. It should be something that you do without thinking twice, something that you find joy in for no good reason. That is where your purpose will lie. So step 2 would be learn about who you are as an individual. What are your strengths? What are your interests? What are your values? We should actually do a video on this. You need to have your own values, a set of values that you follow, that this is who I am. What are other things that you are passionate about? You need to know all of these, I want to say benefits or advantages, good characteristics about yourself, that so that you can better see where your purpose lies. Because if you don't even know yourself, God might be answering you and showing you that this is where you should be, but because you don't know yourself, you'll be like, man, I don't think so. So it is important for us to also do our research on ourselves, learn about yourself and what are the things that you are good at. Step number 3 would be to set your goals, like vision boards. Like, people have been doing this for years, and we are about to approach 2025. I think this is a good time for this video because we need to plan ahead. We can't wait for January and then start planning. So set your goals, know what it is that you want in life, and let them align with things that you know about yourself. They mustn't be if they're contradictory, you're going to be struggling in life. So set your goals. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2 tells us God is telling Habakkuk that he needs to write his plans out, like, so plainly that anybody who reads it will be able to, like, oh, okay, I know exactly what to do. Like, that is what God wants us to do with our plans. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, write it down, put it on a timeline, be like, okay, so I can achieve this by then. I can what do I need to do for me to be able to achieve that? Put that on the timeline as well. Have sub goals, mini goals, short-term goals, medium goals, long-term goals, everything working together. You need to have that down on paper. Step number 4, be kind to yourself. Like, we tend to be like, okay, I've planned it, I've prayed about it, now things will just, no, we need to be patient. Sometimes we are going to mess up, sometimes we are going to go against our own plans. So we need to just learn to be still and allow God to be God and let Him do the fighting. Be kind to yourself. You do what you can do, and then let the rest be dealt with by God. And then step number 4 could be just the last step, but with me, you start with God, we end with God, because He is the Alpha and the Omega, right? So step number 5 would be go back to God in prayer. Like, you know yourself now, you know what your plans are, dedicate them to God. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 9 tells us that it is our job to do the planning, but it is God who establishes those steps. Like, He is the one who puts it into reality, makes it like real life and not just in your head. So go to God, be like, okay, so Jesus, this is what I have planned, this is where I think I am going. What do you think? What can I add? What can I remove? And if you are open-minded when you're speaking to God, He's going to talk back to you. You are going to feel a certain way about certain things and be like, okay, maybe not this anymore. Okay, I'm feeling strongly about this, so I think this should be. And sometimes God will also speak like visions, so you will hear things. Like, people go through this, so you never know. But God does speak in many different ways. So finding your purpose starts with going to Him first. And yeah, I hope you guys understood the whole point of purpose and that I wasn't rambling too much. But the point of the video was to let you know that we all have a purpose. We were all made with a purpose, and it's just a matter of you making that decision that I want to know what my purpose is, so that I can start living a more fulfilling life. Because we can't just be living our lives here and not knowing where we're going. Okay, so I shall be seeing you all again tomorrow. I hope this video blesses somebody, teaches someone something, like you got something out of this video. If you did, do let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you guys would like to see in our vlogmas this year. I'm gonna try and be consistent as I can. Nobody's going to be discouraging me. Oh god, I hope I'm not jinxing myself. But yeah, vlogmas 2024 will be our first successful vlogmas. Yes, so comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you if you are a subscriber and you are viewing again. Thank you for watching up until this point. Until next time, guys, bye.